San, Ni, Ich. Hello and welcome to the Dweebz in Japanese podcast. I am one of your hosts, Patrick.
And I am also one of your hosts, Khalil.
Yay! So Khalil has his video off, his microphone on. Today, he accidentally made his throat swell up. So we're taking it easy. We're also going to do a shorter episode today. Let's get right into it then.
We'll make it up.
We'll make it up. Yeah, this is episode 10, so we want to have a little episode 10 celebration somehow. So we've been watching Darker Than Black. Last episode was the first episode of kind of recapping that. So we're now on the second episode of Darker Than Black. We actually watched it right before this episode together, and it was interesting. Stuff happened. Yes. There was action. There was romance. There was adventure. Khalil, what did you think about the episode? Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, the first half was like kind of build up stuff, kind of showing how kind of sneaky the contractors are. You know.
Yeah.
How Hay was kind of pulling one over. What was her name again?
Haruguchi? I don't remember her first name. That was her last name. That's what Kirihara said at the end. She said, Haruguchi-san, not so it was just like asking him, do you know anything about her? But Haruguchi is her last name, yeah.
Yeah, one thing I didn't really catch, though, was, did they explain what the deal with her was? Because I don't think she was a contractor, but...
No, so they said... They kept calling her a doll, la ningyo.
Oh, so she's like Yun then, the silver-haired girl.
Maybe, yeah. Like I don't know if that's what doll means, but they were saying that they can use a keyword, and I don't know if another contractor did that to her or something, because that's what I thought it was.
How they're made.
Yeah, but she has like a keyword or whatever, and then the dude was explaining, very expository, like explaining everything. He was like,
sure,
word I can say it, and she'll do whatever I want. And so that's why she like occasionally would pull out the gun and just shoot randomly. And then that's when Hay
what was the keyword?
Did
you catch it?
No.
Okay, I was just curious if it was said like near the middle where she fell over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have to go back and listen to that. I have no idea, but I wonder if that's going to come up again. So but they explained the concept of a doll, you know, somebody who's like basically can be put into a hypnotic state and do whatever they want through a keyword. And then what else happened? Oh, she explained how her, when she was younger, when she was in school as a kid, coming back home and then seeing her parents being killed by a kyaksha, but then she also said it was herself. So that makes me think that she was just like suddenly became a doll somehow.
Oh.
And then somehow that kyaksha, that contractor, knows like the keyword. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of guessing here. They probably explained it during the episode. I just didn't understand or missed some of those details. But
there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, that scene where she was looking into the room and seeing her parent, and then like that weird, you know, and then she was talking to Hay about that weird apparition, dark figure kind of floating above the parents with the red eyes. She was saying that kind of reminds, it was kind of herself, like an out of body experience being herself. She's like, it's so weird. And then she said, like, I feel if that kyaksha or that thing died, I would also die. So she was just kind of like speaking her mind out loud to Hay when they're in the room together. But it was sort of implied they're like, oh, she is that person who killed her parents.
Gotcha.
What? So
kind of cryptic.
Yeah, and then when her eyes glaze over, like suddenly, randomly too, that kind of gave you hints to like, oh, she's kind of messed up somehow.
Yeah. Not right about
It's almost like she's. I wonder if she's like in the middle between a Keaksha and then a human. Still,
Hmm.
like she's because she killed her parents, so she. But you don't really know why.
Yeah, they don't really
So,
go too much into
and then
that.
also like you don't know why Hay has his powers too, because everyone, or at least they explained that like to be a Keaksha, he was saying too that Keakshas lie, and they're he said something about like basically putting on a human mask even though you're something completely else, like you're like a monster, but and like basically only meant to kill, but they put on a human mask to like blend in, which is
Yeah,
just
so I
kind of
remember they
weird.
kind of make a point that the contractors don't really have like n normal emotions, so they
Yeah.
kind of have to act.
But I know that you can become a human can become a contractor, so like I wonder how Hay became a contractor if he's also a killer, but he's also trying to like save everybody. So I know you remember more details about the whole show than I do, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because you don't know like anything about that whole team quite yet.
Yeah,
Um,
and I don't remember too much other than what I mentioned when we were watching it.
yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Hmm.
Um, very, very, very fun. I like how
Yeah,
short,
great.
short and sweet the episodes are too.
Right. So give it a watch, everybody. Keep
Yeah.
up with this.
So episode 2, we're gonna be watching episode 3 next week,
Hmm.
and then talking about that. So darker than black, everybody. Khalil, do you have any favorite Japanese words recently?
Yeah, one of them I caught from the show.
Cool.
Uh, uh, and I wrote it in kanji, so I can't read it right now. I think it's what was it? It was like ho something,
Yeah, Joho.
joho, and that's like gossip or like right
Yeah, information is
information.
really what it means, literally. Yeah.
So it's like okay, interesting. Because I just heard it repeated a couple times when they were talking in the restaurant,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
because he was talking to her about. He was saying, "Is there anything you can sell for money?" And I forgot the reason why they would need money. I think I was like filling up the document as they were talking about that.
I thought they were
But
talking about running away,
oh, okay, yeah. No, that's what he
like
was saying. He
leaving
was
the
saying like we
room.
can just go run away together. Um, like obviously he was trying to protect her for whatever reason, but
But you need
um,
money for that.
yeah, that's what I think that's what they were talking about. Like, oh, me needing money to run away. Is there anything big that you can sell? Is what he was asking her, and she's like, I don't have anything, but I have information. He's like, what? And then she's like, oh, I know where the gate or what not hell whatever it's called, the gate, not Hell's Gate. It's like basically like that area where they came from or whatever, the contractors,
Yeah,
um, something gate, and he
looking
then
forward to learning more about that part. 'Cause that's
yeah, and then she's like, I know the facility or whatever, blah 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 blah. And then he's like, oh yeah, you could sell that information for a lot of money,
mm.
um, and then suddenly the food came, and then it became the food conversation, and she's like, you're gonna get fat. And he's like, huh? He's like, you can get fat. And she drinks wine and then she does that weird doll thing. Um,
Oh, yeah, I
so
missed that part.
yeah. So that was the Joho, the information that she could sell for money so that they could run away.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. And then there's also the Wanikani word, Ninki, and it just is fun to say. It's just popular person. It's one of those kanjis that makes sense.
Yeah, Ninki is like popular person, but it also can mean popular just in general. So like uh,
Oh, okay,
popular
so
show, like Nikki no Bangami. It's like
oh,
it's a popular. It
it just means popular.
just means popular. Yeah.
Right.
Um, yeah, there's some probably some. So Yume also means like famous. So Yume
Oh,
and Ninki are both. So Ninki na so if you say like this I've heard this said all the time, like walking around and then seeing a restaurant. There's a nuance between Yume and Nikki is what I'm trying to say. So like a
Oh,
restaurant there'll be like a huge line out the door and then Nikki da ne, like この店が人気だね. It's a really popular restaurant. But if you say この店が有名, it's like a famous restaurant. It's well known. It's
oh, like
you
almost like
know
kind of like renowned. Like it has a.
yeah, as seen on TV, it's kind of like yume.
Mm, okay.
Where Ninki is just like popular. Like lots of people go, lots of people know.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
there is a nuance there.
popular versus famous. So Ninki is popular.
Popular.
I got a couple words from the show too. I got again K-High, but K-High is the third one down. That also I was reading. So I've been reading another book. I finished the first manga of Darker Than Black, the second
Ooh.
series, like the weird black flower or whatever.
Mhm.
And I obviously it continues. Like there's more books, but or whatever, not manga. But I'm moving on to just like regular shosetsu, regular novels. And so I'm reading Ookami no Kodomo. So it's the wolf children. It's actually a movie too. I don't remember the studio that made it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. It's a nice movie. I didn't know there was just a novel about it.
They made the movie first, and then they made the book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I actually never saw the movie, so I don't know anything about it really. I just know it's like kind of cute.
You'll have to
I
watch it
was
after you read it. It's kind of nice.
yeah, okay. I knew that it was kind of like cute and not really super serious or anything. But there's a little bit of like fantasy kind of weirdness in there, so it's been interesting. I bought that when I was in Japan, the book itself, because I had a cute little cartoon cover.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's. But what I wanted to say is, K-High also showed up in that book in the first couple pages I was reading.
Oh,
So it's showing up a lot for me, and those words. Geez, one second, my throat. Those words that show up all the time, I definitely look up and want to remember. But K-High is again sign or indication, and I think she was talking about like the dude that she ended up getting with, and how he was like there was a sign that it was meant to be or whatever.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Jeez, my throat.
You good?
No, I'm dying.
No.
So the next word is that was from the show from Darker Than Black, Yojin.
Yoji.
And Yojin is like apparent. So I didn't even know this. I never heard of Yojin before, but it means like care or precaution or guarding, caution. So Kirihara said Yojin shiro, like let's be careful. Basically, is what she's saying. So she didn't say kyotsukeo, which is another way to say that. She said Yojin shiro. It's kind of like another way to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use caution. It's like more. I think she, trying to be more like a cool cop. Let's proceed with caution.
See. More like
Yojin
professional.
Yeah, and kind of like kakui, like kakuyoku yutta. So the next word that I heard in the show too before this podcast was atte, and I hear atte all the time, like used a lot, but there's a lot of nuances to it. So like atteru means like, is that right, or are you hitting it as well the way I think about it? But atte without the like not the verb form, just atte can mean a lot of things. It can mean like aim, object, purpose, and I'm reading the dictionary here. Expectations, prospects, hopes, something that can be relied upon. Because I think that Hei was asking Haruguchi-san like something about like the purpose of what she's trying to do or something.
Oh, I see.
yeah, forgot the whole
Interesting.
context around that, but
I just recently learned that that character, the first one,
oh yeah,
the
toll.
Wolverine Triceratops.
Yeah, I have no idea the mnemonic because you just like forget all of that after a while.
Yeah.
I know the radicals, but I just don't remember the mnemonic for them. The Wolverine Triceratops. Yeah, that's funny. So atteru is really common. Atte is like a little bit of a different nuance. But it makes sense. It's like purpose or goal or aim or whatever. So like
Yeah.
attewa is, like you're asking somebody, attewa nan desu ka? Like what is your purpose? What is your aim? What are you trying to do basically? I think that's what he was asking her. There's another word that I've been keep forgetting, even though I learned it through Wanikani like eons ago, and I know what it means. I just forget the verb form. Like I know
Oh,
gimon is another way to say that. Gimon is doubt, but to doubt, I always forget. It's utagao, and so I don't know why I forgot it. Maybe that's one of those words in Wanikani that I was like not making sure that I actually remembered the reading, and I was just kind of like
oh, yeah, yeah,
I have no idea, but Utagal is the first word in this list. So I've got a lot of favorite words recently. um,
yeah.
Also, Higashi Nihon um, Daijishin. Is that right? No, it's not. Daijishin is also another way to say that, but um, one second. Daishinsai is what I wanted to write. So Higashi Nihon Daishinsai is the great Japanese earthquake of March 11, 2011. So the Fukushima nuclear
Oh,
disaster came from that. That's what everybody in the world knows is the nuclear disaster, um,
hmm
but Japanese people know that, of course, and that's a huge thing too. But um, the crazy pictures and videos and stories you hear where people were like buried alive and scary stuff like that. That was all from the earthquake and then the tsunamis. So, so that really affected people in that area for sure.
hmm
And so that was not necessarily a favorite word. It's just we were watching the documentary on YouTube from a special that was uh, broadcasted last year, Judy and I, about that whole thing. So obviously they have like a sort of memorial, like remembrance
Oh,
every year on March 11th. So that was a couple of days ago.
oh, okay.
Um, yeah. So and that was it. So yeah, Utagao, Higashi Nihon Dai Shinsai, Keihai Yojin Ate. All the words that I want to. So every time you watch Darker Than Black, these last three, these last words kind of come in. I'm like, oh, I don't really hear that too often because like normal conversation, I don't really hear that too much. But definitely
hmm
in like books, I'll hear it, and in more like serious conversation, I'll hear it. So I want to like write it down and say it so I can remember it.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right,
And
Wanikani, Wall of
some,
Shame.
ooh, we got Say, which is West, I think. 100% meeting, 50% read. Um, I don't know why I keep forgetting it. I think it's just because it doesn't look like West to me, and the way they describe it doesn't really stick
I kind of
the way
remember
the
it
main
being
one.
hard to remember. Yeah, the mnemonic wasn't super great. I think I used a different one. Like I added my own synonym or not synonym,
Oh, I see.
reading note. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll consider doing that, but I think I'll get it. Um, the other one um, that's the rice, which is right. That one's the rice one,
Yep. Yep.
and it's also confusing because it also says it can mean America too.
Yeah. I mean it it means America in like Jukugo words. So like for example, like Beikoku is America. So and that's so rice country. The other kanji's country.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
could you say Beikoku Jin too?
Yes, but that's like
Like
really
for
formal,
American? Because
and it's not. It's very, very,
interesting.
very formal, and you wouldn't even. You might see that. You might see that in like text and stuff. But for somebody writing like on their passport, I think they would, or somewhere other documentation, they'd probably write just Amerikaji. Um,
That's kind of
yeah,
weird.
it's
You
like
would think
it
for like
is
formal
weird.
documents they would, yeah.
Well, because it's not like for formal documents that are modern, and because like now, because okay, back in the day, there's like Eikoku, which is England, and then Chugoku, which is China, and then Kankoku, which is Korea, and Kitachosen, which is a little bit different, but back then it was just Kankoku. Um, and then all the countries like near Japan who interacted with Japan, um, and then like yeah, Eikoku and Beikoku. But then Japan, through time became a little bit more modern and started to actually like interact with other countries more. And then they just started using like the country's
Mm.
name, katakana,
Yeah,
and then so like Portugal, Brazil, and just like all the other things like Canada, they and then so now when you write it on yeah passports and stuff like that, they have like America kokuseki. Kokuseki is like citizen.
oh,
So
okay.
like Canada kokuseki and other things.
So that term
Um,
is more outdated, right? Using that using
yeah,
that
but you still
phrasing.
see it all the time. Like you still see that in books, and then like if they're, for example, on our Google Chromecast, they'll have like images of different places around the world.
Hmm.
Just scrolling through, just like Apple TV, and on a image caption that will be a picture of the United States, they'll say Beikoku instead of America.
Huh.
But what's weird is that sometimes they'll have America there, but most of the time it's Beikoku. It's just this. It's the same meaning. Like one of them is just a little bit more um, old way of saying it.
I see.
Yeah, old way of saying and writing it, and it seems a little bit more formal and like I don't know. There's probably some nuance of where you write both, but like normal conversation, you just say America.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's good to know.
yeah, but you definitely see it in documents and written all the time. But people don't really say Beikoku. You just see it written.
Oh, so it's one of those cases.
Yeah. And they might say it like a newscaster might say that, but honestly, that even a newscaster wouldn't say that. Some like lawyer might say that or something weird. I think. Yeah, I've never really heard that said by anybody. It's mostly America. So
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, that's easier for me anyway.
yeah. It makes it a lot easier for sure. It's easier to hear and like understand. So I have the same exact kanji that I've had for the past 4 months.
You know,
Hinge
maybe
and yeah, I should
and
just like not even
shine.
write. And to
Yeah, maybe
shine,
you should
even you,
just
I
find
remembered.
words that you, yeah, maybe you should find words that you just kind of like, maybe find yourself like slip in your mind every once in a while or something.
Yeah, I
Or
kind of put
something.
those in
You know
the
what I mean?
favorite words. Yeah. So I mean,
I
like
see.
utagao is something that slips my mind all the time. That's annoying. Like I want to remember to doubt because I want to say that sometimes. But I end up just using gimon, which is the same meaning as its replacement because
But
that's a lot
you
easier
want
for
to
me to
know
remember.
the other way.
But the verb is helpful. Like if I have like a compound sentence or something I want to say, like utagai nagara, something something something. Um,
Mm.
what was I gonna say? So cool. So there's the words, our favorite words recently. We also have the grammar lessons. So me, and this is going to be interesting to try to explain. So I don't know if you're familiar with like me endings to adjectives, and then also nouns. So for example, and it's usually used with words that have feeling or taste. So it's sort of like the senses. But feelings, I guess, don't
Interesting.
really like kurushi is like suffering or painful, but it's not. Well, you can say kurushi like that hurts, You can say that too. So kurushi means like painful or suffering, but it's an adjective. So kurushimi is like suffering, as in the noun form. So you take off the e and you add a mi, and it means like the noun form of that. And you see that often with other things too, like so amasa or amai, it means sweet, as in like the taste. It can also mean sweet, as in the other. It's kind of similar to English, like the other form of sweet, like pleasant kind of.
Like pleasant. Or,
yeah. And so amami, so you take off the amai, you take off the e, and then add mi, and then it becomes like sweetness, or like the pleasantness, right? There's a little bit of a nuance there that's different. Another example they have in this article is like omoi, it means heavy, or then omomi means weight. So for example, in their sentence, they have like あの映画には重みがある. So I wouldn't say 重さがある. You'd say 重みがある. So 重さ is like almost literal, like it's the heaviness is there. But 重み is like the little nuance there is that it's a feeling. It's not necessarily. So yeah, that's the nuance there. This me is kind of like injecting a feeling into that word versus just like the literal.
Okay.
The literal thing. So for example, like kurushisa is like how painful. Sa is like the kind of the marker for measurement, kind of. Does that make sense? Like nagai is long, and so nagasa is length. And if I say
okay.
Yeah, and then what was I saying before? Like, oishi is a delicious or yummy, right? And then so oishi-sa is like how yummy, or the amount of yumminess. It's like the measurement for that thing. And so if you add mi instead to it, like oishimi is like the I don't even know if you can say oishimi. I've never heard that before. I don't think that you can do that. You can only do this with certain types of words, which makes it kind of confusing. But at the same time, you hear it a lot and then you just kind of repeat it.
Yeah.
And it becomes like kurushimi is a really common word. Ureshimi, I've heard before. Samishimi is also I hear all the time. And actually, so the way they describe it in the article too is interesting. They said that the me form is not something that came from the adjectives. They think it comes from the mu words, like the verb conjugation, and then over time it became me to mean the. So that's just like a linguistic detail that doesn't really matter all too much, but it I think it helps to know that it's kind of a weird thing. Like you can't just take any verb or any noun and add me to it, and it doesn't always make sense. So so that's like the kind of challenging part of remembering these things. But really, people only use a couple. There's like a handful of me ending words that people use all the time, and you'll just kind of remember them, like itami. So itamu means to feel pain, or like to be in pain, right? So itami is like pain. So it's just like the noun form of that. Also, like tanoshimu is to enjoy, to have fun, and tanoshimi is like enjoyment or funness. I don't know, right? So tanoshimi ni shitemasu or tanoshimi ni shiteru means to look forward to, right? Like I'm enjoy or tanoshinderu.
Oh, I see.
Tanoshimi ni shiteru is like, yeah, I'm the enjoyment. I'm doing the enjoyment. But it actually means like looking forward to. Kurushimi is something you hear all the time too. Like again, I was saying before, that the pain, suffering. Oh yeah. Also kanashi. So kanashimu means to be sad. So kanashimi is like sadness. That's a really common one. So they're all like feeling related, and you can only do this with a couple words, and a lot of them are mu endings actually, like tanoshimu, kanoshimu, itamu.
Oh, I guess that makes it somewhat easier to pick them out at least.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's some exceptions. Is there?
Because like omoi. Omomi.
Oh yeah.
That's an adjective. So yeah. So apparently you can do this with most adjectives is what the article is saying, and then some non-adjectives. To be honest, like basically the only ones I've ever heard are like omomi and tanoshimi, kurushimi, itami, kurushimi. Atakami I've never heard. Oh, I don't hear that much, but amami I've heard before for sure. Like the quality of sweetness or whatever. You see that a lot, like on packages and stuff, and people talk about that when they talk about food, especially like fruit. Like amami is they have an article here. It's like the quality of sweetness versus just like the plain sweetness. Like amasa is like the level of sweetness. Like you'd pick that on if you go to like a boba place or whatever. You see like amasa, and then do you want light sweetness? Or do you want medium sweetness, or do you want like super sweet? And that's like the amasa. Versus amami is like the feeling of sweetness. Like how is it good? Is it bad? Is it high quality, low quality? It's a little bit different versus just like the amount of sugar you're putting in there. It's like the actual goodness of it is the meat part. It's always related to feeling. All of these are like the feeling of that verb or adjective.
Okay, so it's like the perceivement of it. So like
like this is interesting. So ureshi means like glad or happy, right? And then they have an example sentence here that says ureshimi ga aru, which means I'm glad, but it's a little bit of a different thing. You're saying like I have the feeling of gladness. I have the feeling of happy excitement. There's no real like good. That's the thing I love about Japanese. It's so hard to translate into English. Is that it's a very simple one word, but it has so much like weight and meaning behind it. So and it becomes more obvious the more you talk with Japanese people because it's context, word, feeling, and then so natsukashi has like a really, really, really strong connotation and meaning behind it. But a lot of Americans would be like nostalgic. Oh, okay, like I kind of get that, but ureshi is also one of those things too. Or samishi is also one of those things too, like lonely. I guess I kind of get that. Like, but anyway, so ureshimi ga aru is like ureshi, but ureshimi ga aru is sort of like a more it's like a more weighty, nuanced way to say that versus ureshi, I'm happy. That's sort of like a kind of kid thing to say almost. Where ureshimi ga aru is like a more adult, weighty, fine wine. of how to say that. Anyways, this is a long. I went on a tangent here, so let's just move on. So the last and next thing here is the story time. So we have another legendary story. No, what is it called? Folktale. So
folktale.
伝統的な話. So Kintaro, which is like the little gold boy, I guess. And it's very, very, very short. So here we go. You ready? Are you ready for me, Chloe?
Ready.
Sweet.
All these stories start the same way.
Yes, they do. 昔々、山に金太郎という名前の男の子がいました。金太郎の友達は山の動物たちでした。金太郎は毎日毎日動物たちと相撲として遊んでいました。金太郎は毎日勝ちました。大きいクマさんでも金太郎には勝ってませんでした。クマさんが金太郎 と相撲とをして、金太郎は強いな、でも次は負けないよと言いました。次は綱引きです。山の動物たちと熊さんが相手でも、金太郎は一人で勝ちました。金太郎は強いですが、強いだけじゃなくても、ごめん。強いだけじゃなくて、とても優しい男の子でした。金太郎、どうしよう。橋がないから渡れない。僕に任して。金太郎がドーンと木を折って橋にしました。動物たちは嬉しかったです。どうもありがとうと言って、金太郎が作ってくれた橋を渡りました。その後、強くて優しい金太郎、立派な若者になり、お侍さんをサポートして若い人たちを倒しました。sorry, not 若い。悪い人たちを倒しました。That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Very, very, very short story.
It is.
Very, very, very short story. So
So
I love the little drawing of this guy too. I'll put the
I
link
can
in the
only see
description
part
for
of it.
this. If you go back to the Japanese folktales in the navigation, you can see the full picture. It's a very little fat little child.
Oh yeah,
But
he was doing sumo, right? With the animals.
no, he was doing a hikitsu tsunahiki. Tsunahiki is like rope pulling. Like with those two sides, so then they pull the rope to see who can get to the other side.
Oh,
So that
why
the
did
Kuma-san is like the bear was talking to him about next time I'm not gonna lose. And then they lost. So
what
Kintaro, he was
what's the
on
moral?
one side of the moral of the story is just like he's a good boy. Kintaro, どうしよう、橋がないから渡れない. There's no bridge, so we can't cross something. And then he says, leave it to me. Like makaseru is like to rely on, to put trust into. It's more like rely on, like 僕に任せて is like yeah, let me do it. Like rely on me. I'm gonna do it.
Oh, okay.
任せて. And makaseru is like the the dictionary form of that. So very, very short story. He cuts down the tree and makes the bridge for them, and they all get across, and they're all happy. 嬉しかったです。どうもありがとう. Then they all crossed it, and then he was a good little boy, and he supported all the samurai, and he defeated all the bad people. It's like the last sentence is like
What happened?
その後、その後、強くて優しい金太郎は立派な若者になり、お侍さんをサポートして悪い人たちを倒しました。It's like he supported the samurai and they all, not 倒す is literally means like to knock over. So it's like like overthrowing, like overthrowing all of the bad people.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like more happened in the last sentence than like
the whole story,
feels
yeah,
like.
for sure. Yeah. And that's what I love about these little like kid stories though, is that geez, the next story I want to read is very long. Or it's a lot longer than Kintaro. Yeah, it's a Urashima Taro. That's going to be next week. So that's it. That's episode 10. It was a little bit longer than I thought, but we talked a lot about the favorite words and then the darker than black stuff. So
that's true.
But yeah, do you have anything else to say, Khalil? Are you looking forward to anything or not?
What?
Is there anything you want to change? Is there anything that you want to say before we close out the episode? You don't have to think of something.
I can't think of anything.
Cool. Okay.
I do want to try to find some more resources though, so we could talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
This last thing we had was Todai.
Yeah, Todai is still really useful. Again, there's like really no Japanese news. Judy and I were talking about this the other day. Like the amount of Japanese news is so little. Most of Japanese news was consumed with the royal family in England.
Really? Dang.
And the American news.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, so like it's really nothing. There's nothing of interest. So it's just really safe and boring.
That's not so bad, you know.
Which is not a bad thing. It's just like the little things they'll spend a month looking into, and it's like, okay, just move on to the next story already. They have no stories. All right, let's end it. So next week we're going to be watching the 3rd episode and talking about that of Darker Than Black. We're also going to be looking at doing something a little special for the episode 10 celebration, which was this episode. And hopefully Chloe will feel better so that we can do videos and maybe have like a party or something.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yes, awesome. Stay tuned. Let's take us out with the san ni ichi.
Baba Akin.
Oh, bye Aki.
The Baba Akin.
Dang, what kind of accent is that?
It's Tecto. I'm just making up on the spot.
It's